Welcome back to another episode of Race Car Resurrection. I'm over here at the shop today. It's Saturday. Kind of windy and supposed to get stormy this afternoon, so rather than redo screens on the back porch, seemed like a good time to come over and work on the race car. So I got here this morning. I've done a few preliminary things. We're going to flip around here on the camera and come down and kind of show you what we did. First of all, I had this brace back here that was holding the back end of the car up, and I moved it. I cut it loose from right there and moved it forward, so when I cut the frame and slide back, I got enough room down here on the bottom of the deck to slide it back. And originally I was looking at coming in, we were going to clamp this piece of angle iron on here and cut this tube. And I got thinking about it. When I go to build the next project, I want to be able to put the greenhouse from that roll cage right back here to where it was. So I started looking at how I'm going to cut this instead, and I think what I'm going to do is come in. You can see my line. I'm going to cut this off and then cut off right here. This section is going to end up trimmed out because the new frame rails are going to lay in, but I'm just going to cut it here on each side and cut it right there, and then take this whole rear section and slide it backwards. And then we'll come in and we'll notch this and notch up here, drop the new frame rail in, tack it in place, get it squared up, and I think that's what we're going to do. So I came in here too and I put another cross brace in and tacked some uprights to it to kind of hold the whole back end in the same plane. Got everything kind of squared around this morning. So that's where I'm at. We'll make some cuts here and I'll show you what happens. I'm kind of at that point of no return. As soon as we make this first cut, it's there's no going back. So I'm going to take just another couple of measurements, say a prayer, put a fresh Sawzall blade in, and go to town. We'll see what happens, but stay tuned. All right, so a little progress update. We got the frame rails in. I'm gonna flip around here in just a second, but a lot of work today. I got everything leveled, squared. William was by the shop a little while ago and helped me get the rear slid back just a little bit so that we could get it lined up, but I'm gonna flip around here. There we go. The new frame rail extensions are in. You can see where we cut this loose from here and slid it back 10 inches. Put the frame rails in. I got all the X bracing underneath. I got it cut to fit. You know, I got to do a little bit of cleaning up on it yet. Get everything where it needs to be, and I've got to square the rear end yet. I've got to pull some diagonal measurements and get some things square, but it's all there. It's test fit. So far everything has gone according to plan. No surprises, nothing has gone really crazy. When I cut the rear subframe loose from the original side frame rails over there, there's the cut where I cut it loose over there. You know, it did move just a bit. This race car had been repaired a couple of times. I can tell there's been some fixes. It looks like, you know, like right here there's a weld. It had been, you know, maybe clipped at one point in its lifetime, so there's probably a little bit of tension in the frame as we took it apart, but so far everything is coming along well. Everything is lining up, and then now the next phase is going to be starting to tack some things in place. I'm probably going to start there at the front, tack that in line, get that tacked up, pull my measurements from there to the side rail, bring all them down, get those where they're right, and then I'll square the rear end up in it from there. But these outer frame rails, these yellow rails, they're going to end up being cut off right there, and I will cut them off on a diagonal right there and put a plate to kind of stiffen that edge. And then when we come in here, You can see I've got a line scribed right there. I'm going to cut these off. This was a rough cut because we couldn't get anything in there to make a nice cut. Once I get all this stuff out of the way, I'll be able to come back into my line, make a nice clean cut, and then we'll cap the end and we'll put a diagonal brace probably in line with this to here. Since, you know, suspension component ties in right there, we'll just probably tie this in with another piece of 1x2 over to here, or I've got some 2x3 I could probably put in there. So anyway, just a little progress update on today. I'm going to go get another beer out of the refrigerator and stand here and stare at what I've done so far and contemplate my next move, which is you know what a lot of hot rod building is contemplating your next move. So anyway, appreciate it, and this will probably be it for today, unless I go ahead and start getting to tacking some stuff in. It's getting late in the day, and I'm gonna have to get to the house, but I don't know, maybe I'll start doing some welding. But anyway, appreciate y'all tuning in. Talk to you later. Bye. Okay, last segment for today. I made a lot of progress. I am really pleased. I've managed to get the new frame rails in. The chassis is narrowed and extended. I'll flip over here a minute. Now you get to see, you know, the new frame rails are in place. They're tacked in up at the front frame stubs, tacked in on the X bracing on both sides, tacked into the rear cross member, both sides. This has been a lot of work today, but I'm really pleased. My my width and length is right. My diagonal was in the 1/16 of being square. So given the fact that I'm starting with a used chassis that has been bent probably a couple of times in its lifetime, I think to get it within a 1/16 is pretty damn good, actually, for not having a chassis plate. I'm on a 4-post lift here that I've got 4-inch cross members underneath to keep everything, and then, like I said, I welded everything in place, you know, to keep everything flat and square. So I think for a little bit of redneck race shop, to be within a 1/16 is pretty darn good. So anyway, a lot of work today, a lot of progress. I'm very pleased. Now we'll get in here and weld all this up solid, and then we'll take these outer frame rails off. Again, I'm going to come up here and I'll cut them off right here in line, and then diagonal this and put a fish plate in here to strengthen that joint. And probably here in the very back, I'm going to come in with a piece of 2x3 tubing, and I'm going to have there's a cut line there. Like I said, this cut off was a rough cut. I'm going to cut it back a little bit, but then we'll come in with probably another piece of 3x3 tubing or 2x3 and kind of, you know, triangulate this and strengthen it up on both sides. You know, the other side do the same thing, and stiffen this thing up. And then once that's done, we can set the body on it, set the cab on it. We're gonna walk over here real quick, call Thomas Towing for all of your towing and transportation needs. There's the telephone number. And while I'm sitting there, there's our big trucks out back. If large or small, we tow it all. But anyway, going on over here, shop's kind of full, but we're gonna get where we can drop this 42 body on there. And don't know yet exactly if that firewall is going to stay the way it is, or if it's going to get trimmed out or moved, or it's going to get trimmed out anyway. But this is the body we're going to throw on here, and then we're going to build, like I said, a race car that never existed. But anyway, I appreciate everybody hanging in there today. I'm going to piece all this together and make one video, and hope y'all enjoy it. Talk to you later.